نوروا قلوبكم بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. الثانية غفر الله لكم. الثالثة بأعلى أصواتكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك، وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك، فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، وأجب يا رحيم دعوتي، وأقل يا غفور عثرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وهموم قد كشفتها، وعثرة قد أقلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها، على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه، ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه، ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره وحمده، الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يده، الذي لا تنقص خزائنه، ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما. إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير، مع حاجة بي إليه عظيما، وغناك عنه قديم، وهو عندي كثير، وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي، وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي، وصفحك عن ظلمي، وسترك على قبيح عملي، وحلمك عن كثير جرمي عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي، أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك، وأريتني من قدرتك، وعرفتني من إجابتك، فصرت أدعوك آمنا، وأسألك مستأنسا، لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك. فإن أبطأ عني عتبت بجهلي عليك، ولعل الذي أبطأ عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. فلم أر مولا كريما أصبر على عبد لئيم منك علي يا رب. إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك، وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك، وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك. كأن لي التطول عليك فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك. فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك، إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح ديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام، الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادله، ولا شبيه يشاكله، ولا ظهير يعاضده. قهر بعزته الأعزاء وتواضع لعظمته العظماء، فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أناديه ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا أعصيه، ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازيه. فكم من موهبة هنيئة قد أعطاني، وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفاني، وبهجة مونقة قد أراني، فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه، ولا يغلق بابه، ولا يرد سائله، ولا يخيب آمله. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين، ويرفع المستضعفين ويضع المستكبرين، ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاصم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين، موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها، وترجف الأرض وعمارها، وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق، ويرزق ولا يرزق، ويطعم ولا يطعم، ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت، بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك، ومبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى، وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين، عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين، وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي، حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك، صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمل والعدل المنتظر، وحفه بملائكتك المقربين، وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك، استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله، مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيته له، أبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا، يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وأعزز به، وانصره وانتصر به، وانصره نصرا عزيزا، وافتح له فتحا يسيرا، واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم اظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله، وتذل بها النفاق وأهله، وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك، ترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا، وما قصرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المم به شعثنا، واشعب به صدعنا، وارتق به فتقنا، وكثر به قلتنا، واعزز به ذلتنا، واغن به عائلنا، واقض به عن مغرمنا، واجبر به فقرنا، وسد به خلتنا، ويسر به عسرنا، وبيض به وجوهنا، وفك به أسرنا، وأنجح به طلبتنا، وأنجز به مواعيدنا، واستجب به دعوتنا، وأعطنا به سؤلنا، وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا، واعطنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين. اشف به صدورنا وأذهب به غيظ قلوبنا واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك، إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق، آمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله، وغيبة ولينا، وكثرة عدونا، وقلة عددنا، وشدة الفتن بنا، وتظاهر الزمان علينا. فصل على محمد وآله، وأعنا على ذلك بفتح منك تعجله، وبضر تكشفه، ونصر تعزه، وسلطان حق تظهره، ورحمة منك تجللناها، وعافية منك تلبسناها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. إلى شرف النبي وأهل بيته الأطهار، وإلى كل من مات على الهدى والإيمان، وبالخصوص آكلي وبادلي الطعام ومؤسسين وكل خدمة الحسين، نهدي للجميع ثواب سورة الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, everyone is doing well tonight. Thank you for joining us in our Ramadan program. Maybe tonight there's a little bit of a smaller crowd, but this is usually how it is. But alhamdulillah, thank you all for making it tonight. I'm just going to announce a couple of details regarding Eid, inshallah, before we invite Sayyid. So inshallah, it's going to be on a Saturday, alhamdulillah. Eid is going to fall on a Saturday. Hopefully, I think Friday? Sorry. So I'm just trying to see if the celebration day was changed. Okay, so sorry about that. So it's inshallah, it'll be at Your Belinda Park. It's going to start at 9 a.m. with takbirat, followed by Salat al-Eid and a sermon by Sayyid Abbas. And then there's going to be a potluck and maybe some celebration, some stuff for the kids. And it'll end with Dhuhr and Asr prayers, inshallah. So hopefully we'll all see you there. So is it confirmed it's Friday, or is it depending on moon sighting? Moon sighting, okay. So we'll keep you updated, inshallah. Thank you, and let's invite Sayyid Abbas with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى يوم الدين. Inshallah, your fast is accepted, your acts of worship is accepted. We're talking about the significant topic of death. And we said that the first stage that someone has when they die is the stage of barzakh. And barzakh is not necessarily this world and not necessarily the hereafter. It is somewhere in between these two. So before we go to heaven, inshallah Allah saves us from the hell, there's a place that has characteristics of this world and has characteristics of the hereafter. Some are asked, what is the purpose of this barzakh, this purgatory? What is the purpose of it? Why are people there? Why are they in the graves for so long? And then the day of judgment happens. The answer to this can be maybe in two ways. Both of them is because of the mercy of God. One is that because we cannot handle the hereafter, because of heaven and hell or day of judgment, its pleasure, its punishment is so intense that we will not be able to handle it until there is a place where we get used to, and then we can go to the next stage, for example. It's like some give the example of swimming. When you want to swim in the deep end of the pool, where do you start first when you want to learn swimming? The shallow end. So you learn to swim in the shallow end first, then you can go to the deep section. So the first benefit of barzakh is to prepare us for that reality of the hereafter. The reality that when you look at the reward, this world cannot describe the reward of heaven, for example. Or when you look at the punishments of hell, this world cannot bear the punishments. You know, when Rasulullah saw some of the punishments and heard about the punishments of hell, he could not even speak anymore. Right, so it is that intense. Another benefit of barzakh is that imagine that immediately whenever someone died would go into and be judged. What is the difference from that and going into a grave and being into, for example, barzakh? What benefit does it have that people are just waiting? It's not the hereafter, it's not the dunya. They're waiting there. What do you think the benefit of that is? One is that for their children, their loved ones, their community can help that person in the grave still. If they went to the day of judgment immediately, well, maybe they owed people money and they would be judged for that money. But their children come and they pay off their debts and they help that person in the grave. Or maybe there is prayers that they missed, or hajj they missed, or acts of worship they missed, and that person, their son, their daughter, or their family members, or their loved ones, they come and they take care of that. So remember, one of the important things that we have for our deceased is that you can help them before it's too late. You can help them with their huquq al-nas, if they have harmed someone, if they have owed people money, and their huquq Allah, if they own acts of worship or different things. Another benefit is baqiyatu salihat. They are waiting until the world is over because they have planted things and done things in this world that is beneficial for them. Maybe they helped money at a school. Maybe they helped money at a center. Maybe they have helped people and you see the effects of that. The effects of that, people are continuing to make dua for them, pray for them while they're in the grave until the day of judgment happens. So see, purgatory and barzakh, these are good things about it. I'm sorry that many of the nights I've been scaring you about it and frightening you. I thought that maybe, I'm seeing less and less people are coming. Maybe they're getting scared that we're talking about the grave. But the reality is this is actually rahmat of Allah. for the deceased. So, dear brother, dear sister, if you have loved ones that have passed away, make sure that you make your intentions, even the smallest amount of things, of ihsan, good, even reciting the Quran, anything, make it for them. Because this is one of the purposes of barzakh, is so that you can help them. Dear brother, dear sister, while you have a chance in this world, do something that will be sadaqah jariyah for you, baqiyat as-salihat for you. They say that Isa alayhi salam once was crossing by a dead body, and this dead body was being punished. And the prophets know. And he came back about 1 year later and saw that this dead body is not being punished anymore. Said, well, he had a righteous son, and his son was doing good for him, that person. So you see that Allah is giving us an ability to still do things in this world before we're in the day of judgment. Even though that person is in the grave, he is still, good things are happening for them. When we look at the topic that we have for tonight we're going to be talking about the relationship of the dead with the world. Last night we talked about the dead with the dead. That in the hereafter, the dead, they eat, they drink, and they visit each other. Remember, when we talk about this, hopefully our memories are, not that weak, inshallah, that if they ask us, what did you have for dinner last night? We have to keep thinking and thinking and thinking. Inshallah, we have good memories. We can remember what food we had. We can remember what we talked about. And it was, yes, the meeting of those that are in barzakh. And we said that the good go to where? Where do the believers go to? Wadi al-Salam. And the other is Wadi al-Barahut. Right. So now we're going to talk about, do those that pass away, when they are in the grave, do they see people in this world? Do they have a relationship with this dunya? Or is it in a way that, no, they know nothing about it? So let's talk about this and talk about first the highest levels. To answer this in a very short way, we say that depending on people's ranking, depending on their spirituality, depending on what they have gained, the better they are, the more freer they are to come to this world. But the worse they are, the more they did not listen to Allah, the more that they will be trapped and they will not be able to come. Who do you think are the highest when it comes to the spirits that have passed away? Who are the highest? The Prophet and Ahlul Bayt. And you see how alive, when you look at the traditions, how alive their holy souls are when it comes to having information about this world. They are very informed. So I want you to take the Prophet of Islam, I want you to take his noble family as the top of this, and allow that to trickle down with the sulaha, the ulama, the shuhada, different people. And you see that they are also, in their own way, able to have information of this world. And we're going to talk about it. When we look at the Holy Quran, we have one of the verses, وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَ اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. So the Quran mentions in Surah Tawbah 105 that to the Messenger of Allah, tell them, do, act, and Allah will see their actions, the Rasul will see it, and the mu'mineen. This brings a topic here that is both in Shia narrations and in Sunni narrations. That is the amount of information that the Prophet and Imams have. Because Quran is saying do, Allah will see it, Rasul will see it, and the mu'mineen will see it. In the tradition, it mentions, we have other traditions, for example, from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, مَا لَكُمْ تَسُونَ بِرَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Why do you harm Rasulullah? Why do you upset him with your actions? So we have this theological debate about the Prophet of Islam witnessing actions in this world. And you see that Sunnis have this tradition, is very popular, and some of them, according to this tradition, gave this opinion that Rasulullah knows what we are doing. Now some of them say ijmalan, Some of them say tafsilan. Some of them say in detail. Some say no, not in detail. But the tradition is this: hayati khayrun lakum, 3 times. Wafati khayrun lakum. My life is good for you, and my death is good for you. My life is good for you in different ways, 3 ways. One of them is because I brought you the message, brought you the Quran. But my death is good for you because mawti khayrun lakum. Why? Because I am informed. فَأُخْبِرُكُمْ بِمَا يُحِلُّ لَكُمْ. Well, that's the good news of this world. But basically, because I am informed of what you do, تُعْرَضُ عَلَيَّ أَعْمَالُكُمْ كُلَّ خَمِيسٍ. Every Thursday, your actions are presented to me after I die. And it says in the tradition, فَمَا كَانَ مِنْ حَسَنٍ حَمَدْتُ اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ وَمَا كَانَ مِنْ ذَنْبٍ اسْتَوْحَبْتُ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. When they are good, I thank Allah. And when they are bad, in a way that I want this to be separated from you. I'm not happy about it, the actions that you did. So you see that Rasulullah in this tradition from Ahlul Sunnah mentions that your actions are presented to me. So the best spirit that we could ever imagine is Rasulullah, and he is informed. And this tradition says every Thursday. We have traditions from the Shia that say أعمال شيعتك تعرض يا علي إن أعمال شيعتك تعرض على كل يوم جمعة فأفرح بصالح ما يبلغني من أعمالهم وأستغفر لسيئاتهم. So they come, the actions of the Shia come to me every Friday. I am happy when it's good, when it reaches me, and also I do istighfar when it is bad. So this is a very important belief that Muslims have, and Shias have this more, is that their divine leaders or our divine leaders are in a way connected to us even when they pass away in the tradition. So how does that make you feel? Did you know that Allah is watching you in this world, and you see that Rasulullah is watching me, Imam Ali alayhi salam is watching me? How does that make you feel? It makes you feel that I am going to be more careful of how I'm going to act. I'm going to have more haya, I'm going to have more shame. Because my life is not a private life anymore, that nobody sees me. And if I'm alone and nobody knows what I'm going to do, that it is okay. That Allah is watching me. Besides God, His messenger, which is my prophet, he will be informed. My imams will be informed. The angels are informed. One angel to the right, one angel to the left is writing. So I am very daqiq and accurate about what I act, how I act in this world. That is one of the benefits in believing that the souls have the capability of seeing the dunya. So that is one of the beliefs that we have, and is a very important belief. Let's give a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So the first we said is Rasulullah and the Imams. Now what about normal people? What about people that we knew, family members we had, friends we had, and they passed away? Do they come to see us? Are they informed about us or not? There's a chapter in Al-Kafi, chapter 86. Bab anna al-mayyit yazuru ahla. There's actually a chapter of narrations in this. And, the other proof that I talked about that the Prophet and the Imams see you, there's about maybe 80-something hadith about this, that the Imams see us in this world. And it's a very, in Shiism, it's a very living relationship we have with the Prophets and Imams, that they see us, observe us, we say salam to them, they answer us. Because we said our main component of us is the spirit. Now the second part is, what about normal people? So when it comes to normal people, the traditions have this. This is from Al-Kafi, I mentioned, that إِنَّ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَزُورُ إِنَّ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ لَيَزُورُ أَهْلَ فَيَرَى مَا يُحِبُّ وَيُسْتَرُ عَنْهُ مَا يَكْرَهُ. The family members come and they visit. Now, I'm not saying when they come yet, but they come and visit. They say, oh, for example, my son, my daughter, my grandchildren, whatever. I come, I see them. But when they're a believer, Allah does something very nice to them. He doesn't allow them to see everything. He does not allow them to see everything. He only allows them to see the good virtues or the good behavior of the believers. And He hides from them the bad. So they come and they come to this world and they see, oh, look at them, look how happy they are, look how good they are, look at these actions. They only show them that part, not the bad part. So Allah censors, alhamdulillah, for us, the believers, that He censors only the good parts and allows only the good parts for them to see, according to this hadith. Then for the kafir, the unbeliever, لَيَزُورُ أَهْلَ فَيَرَى مَا يَكْرَى وَيُسْتَرُّ عَنْهُ وَمَا يُحِبُّ وَيَسْتَرُّ عَنْهُ مَا يُحِبُّ. The unbeliever, the person that fought against Islam, the person that did not believe, and it was clear for them, Rasulullah or the Imams, he on purpose they fought against them. For them, it will be another punishment in the grave. Why? Because they will come and see their family member, but they will only see the bad things, and they will not see the good things. So this is the tradition we have in Al-Kafi. Then it says, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَزُورُ عَلَىٰ قَدْرِ عَمَلِهِ. So they, according to their actions, they will be visiting. So the deceased soul, they don't visit all the time. Maybe some of them visit once a year. Maybe some of them once a month. Maybe some of them once a day. So depending on their rank, depending on how you could say strong their spirit is and how much they elevated and developed their spirituality, that just as this spirit, this heart is alive in this world, and the prophets came to give us life, and he has gained life in this world of hayat, he's not only focused on the material, he worked on the spiritual part of himself. That spirit is alive and connected to the unseen. Well, that spirit will also be connected to the unseen when he has passed away. That spirit will be very alive. Let me tell you an interesting story about sometimes not only do the spirits see us, but they help guide us. Maybe you right now, some of you whose parents have passed away, maybe you've seen your parents or grandparents in dreams, and maybe sometimes you've actually gotten guidance from them. There's also another capability that exists, is that they can help guide and help their family members. There's an interesting story of Sheikh Abbas al-Qumi. Everyone know who he is. He is the author, the compiler of Mafatih al-Janan, a book of du'as. Very good, pious sheikh. One of the, good ulama that we had, they had always this respect that they had to their parents. Sheikh Abbas al-Qumi loved his father and he respected his father. Just giving you some of the merits and how important it is to listen to your father, listen to your mother. Sheikh Abbas al-Qumi's father once was telling his son, he says to my son, why don't you go and attend those lessons? I want you to attend those lessons. Those are good lessons. Go and attend them. And Sheikh Abbas al-Qumi didn't ever want to disrespect his father. Thank you. Let's do a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He didn't want to, he had the utmost care and mannerisms with his father. And our teacher has always said those that have reached anything, it was from having good manners and listening to the parents in places where obviously it is, good to listen to. And he says, why don't you attend the classes of the Shaykh, for example? And Shaykh Abbas Qumi didn't tell his father that, Father, I have written that book that Shaykh is teaching. I am the author of that. If it was us, already would use that, like, look at me, look at my name here. That's me, right? Who is it? What's the name? Can you read it? It's me. It's me. But he doesn't even say I'm the author. Out of humbleness, he says, yes, chash. Yes, Father, I'll go. And he goes and attends classes of the same class that, his father, that he wrote the book. So Sheikh Abbas al-Qawmi also in the same way as a caring father, when he becomes a father, he has a son, and his son, when he passes away, his son is in financial need. His son is in financial need as a sheikh. And sometimes, as you know, the lives of the scholars financially is not very stable. So in this part of his life, his son is thinking of getting another job, thinking of maybe giving less importance to studies and teaching and what he does, and just going into the world and working at maybe like one of these offices, official government or something, offices of that time, and just getting an income. He comes to him in a dream, and I think Shahid Mutahari talks about this, one of the sheikhs talk about this. He comes to him in the dream and tells him, says, you have more faith to this boss than you have to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Abu Abdullah. Because, as a scholar, your trust is in Imam Hussein in this path, that hopefully they'll give you this. So his father, for him to help his son, in a way, says in the dream that he will help him, I will help you. And miraculously, somehow, money gets received to the son, and in a way that he knew there's a relationship with this dream and getting that provision for him staying in the houses, staying and studying. So you see that many instances of this, that the deceased, they not only do they watch and know what their family members are doing, but also in a way that we do not understand, and sometimes that person doesn't know, they help them and they guide them. And many people, even right now, if I ask you right now of those whose parents have passed, so maybe you've given examples where one of your family members gives you something in a dream, and later on you receive it, right? So they have that live connection to this world. Why? Because the spirit is what is alive. So therefore, depending on the spirit and depending on the status, they will see more. What is the form that they come? There are traditions, maybe you've heard of these hadith, that they come in the form of a bird. Has anyone heard of this? That the deceased come in the form of a bird. We have traditions like this. في صورة طائر لطيف يسقط على جدرهم ويشرف عليهم. This is from Imam Kadhim alayhi salam, that they come as a latif bird. Now, some, like this author that have been benefiting from his lessons and his book, he says here that actually maybe it might be exactly the form of a bird. Maybe it was an example, because it says ta'irun latif. So he says, I use another tradition to understand this tradition. And that other tradition is this, is that when Imam Kadhim alayhi salam mentions this about them, and he says that basically that the believer has a higher status than coming in this form, than coming in the form, for example, of a bird. So let me find the tradition for you. Let's recite Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahu. So it says, Al-mu'min akramu ala Allah min an yaj'al ruhuhu. Now this tradition has fi hawsalat al-tayr, a certain part of a bird. Walakin fi abdanin ki abdanihim. Comes in like forms or bodies like their bodies. So it might be not necessarily a physical body that they come, some other type of body that we're not aware of, but they come in this form. Then the other discussion is then, when do they come? And you see in the traditions that it mentions that some of them one day, every day, some of them, for example, let me read the tradition for you. Ala qadr fada'ilihim. However much virtue they have, the more they will visit. Minhum man yazuru fi kulli yawm. There are those spirits, they're so high. As I said, they were alive in this world, so they'll be alive in the grave. And they'll come every day and visit their family members. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَزُورُ فِي كُلِّ يَوْمَيْنِ. Maybe every 2 days, this tradition from Imam alayhi salam in Al-Kafi. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَزُورُ فِي كُلِّ ثَلَاثَ يَوْمٍ. Every 3 days. أَدْنَاهُمْ مَنْزِلَةً يَزُورُ كُلُّ جُمْعَةٍ. In this tradition, it says from those that have from the believers, the lowest of them will be every Jum'ah, every Friday. You can expect your family members, your deceased, to come and visit you. And see how beautiful that this world of Barzakh is. That it's not necessarily a world that is of this world and the hereafter, that Allah is still giving them. They're still in this world, the dead, and they're also not in this world. They see us more than we see them, obviously. And they can, in a way, have an influence and guide in this world according to the rank that they had, and therefore they'll be able to see them. So therefore we see in these discussions that we had that the purpose of this is that we can help one another. If someone passes away from our friends, from our family members, we can help them with their wajibat or anything that they still have to do in this world. We can help them, we give them reward, inshallah. And also you see that they care for us and they watch over us and they care for us as well. So this is part of the rahmat and mercy of Allah. But the most important thing that we learn from Barzakh is to be prepared for this grave. This grave that is, the Imam says in the traditions, that this is a grave of Inna lil qabr kalaman fi kulli yawm, the famous tradition, the grave that we will be buried. Every day the hadith says, speaks the grave that we will be one day buried. Some earlier, some later. Every day it speaks and says, Ana baytul ghurba. I am the house that you will be estranged, you will be all alone. Ana baytul ghurba. Every day that grave is calling us. Ana baytul wahsha. I am the house that you will be afraid, you will be scared. Ana baytul dud. You can say the house of insects. Ana al-qabr. Ana rawdatun min riyad al-jannah. I am the garden of the gardens of paradise. Wa hufratun min hufar al-nar, and one of the wells of the ditches of hellfire. So we understand that that position that we have, that person will be living in the barzakh according to their maqam and place. Some will be in barzakh, will be buried, and they'll think they've been there for 100 years. And the tradition from Imam Ali says they've only been here for 1 hour. They think it's been 100 years. It's been so painful for them. Another person in the same tradition mentions that he's been dead for 100 years. And they ask him, how long have you been here? He said, maybe an hour. So hopefully we'll be like those that time will pass very fast, and it will be, one of those that the barzakh will be very pleasant for us. We said at night time is when the believers go to Wadi as-Salam, they meet each other, they ask about one another, they talk to one another. And we said that Wadi as-Salam, we could understand as maybe that Wadi of Walayat, the place of Walayat, because it is in this physical location here is where Imam Ali alayhi salam is buried, and also the metaphysical position of Wadi as-Salam, which is another world that is connected to Imam Ali alayhi salam. Ya Allah, we ask you, these nights of Ramadan, if you have not forgiven us, please forgive us now. Accept our actions, inshallah. Accept our salat, our saum. Accept our good actions that we do to one another. Ya Allah, give mercy upon those that have passed away, inshallah. Forgive their sins, and allow them when they come and visit us to see and be proud of us, inshallah, when they see us every Friday or every other day or every day. Ya Allah, make us of the companions of Imam Mahdi, inshallah. Expedite his return. Cure all the sick. Grant everyone here their hawa'ij. Whatever you want from Allah, may Allah grant it to you, inshallah. Help those that are oppressed. Give shelter to those that need shelter. And make us of the companions of the Imam with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil fajr. Thank you for listening. If we can stop the streaming, we're going to have a Q&A. When you give me the green light, we'll begin, inshallah.